What are you doing to relieve your stress? It's a question I ask my patients quite frequently because, let's be honest, there's a ton of people out there that are facing stressful situations. I see it every single day in my practice. Somebody comes in and they are really stressed out. And the most common answer for that is nothing. And that's the majority of people, because what if we've been taught? We've been told reduce our stress. We've been told we need to minimize our stress, otherwise it's going to lead to bad things. But nobody ever gives us actionable ways to actually reduce our stress, right? Now, in the few that do actually give me a way that they're reducing their stress or handling their stress, exercise is a common answer. Drinking is a common answer. Sleeping a lot is a common answer. Praying and meditating is a common answer. So there are different ways that a lot of people are going about this. And those are all different ways that we can do it. Now, some ways are going to be better than others, though. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. And this isn't me sitting here telling you how to handle your stress. You know your body. You know how things are going to work well for you. And you know the things that are not going to work well for you. But in some situations, there are ways that we can improve the outcomes that we get. And it just sharing those with you so you have better ideas and better strategies so you can mix and match to come up with the right thing for you. So number one, we have to look at what is the activity that we are going to do to manage our stress. Is it something that is active? Is it exercise? Is it going out and working harder? I know a lot of people turn to work when they stress. I don't hear that. I don't hear that answer in my practice a lot, where people are just throwing themselves into their work, but I know it is a common one. And when we're looking at something active, do you have the energy to do that on that day? Because sometimes you just need sleep, right? There are times when sleep is the right answer. Think about the last time that you were really, really stressed out. Do you handle stress better when you are rested or when you are exhausted? I mean, it's a pretty obvious answer, right? When we're exhausted, we don't handle stress well. If you need evidence of that, grab a little kid. Grab your little kid. Don't just go grab a random little kid. That's not going to end well for you. But if, like, as a parent, we see it all the time. There's evidence of fatigue all over the place. The kids start having meltdowns. They start getting angry. They start screaming a lot. There's evidence all over the place. They don't handle stress well when they're tired. But it's the same is true for adults. I don't handle stress well when I'm tired either. And I'm lucky that my wife understands, when I am stressed. I don't even have to tell her, I may get grumpy or whatever it may be. And she's like, hey, you need to go for a run, or you need to go do something. You need to go take some time for yourself, whatever it may be. But she guides me in some of those things. And that helps me to see it. I know in most cases that I'm stressed out. I know in most cases that I need to do something, but you don't always want to take the time to do it, right? But in your best interest to take the time to do it. If you take that time to do it, you're going to have a better outcome. But sometimes you just need the rest. So explore the option. If you are planning on exercising or throwing yourself into work, do you have the energy to do that? If you don't have the energy to do it, that exercise or that work may not be the best outcome for you. Next thing, alcohol. There are a lot of people that turn to alcohol. Alcohol is not a great one, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to call it exactly what it is. When you drink, it increases the amount of inflammation that you have. When you stress, it increases the amount of inflammation you have. So not only do you get that increase in inflammation that's already exacerbating the symptoms that are already there, you also get destroyed sleep with alcohol. Alcohol really, really affects your sleep. And when you have that combination of that alcohol affecting your sleep, you add the fatigue into that inflammation, it just makes everything worse, and it can really snowball on you. And this is why you see some of these people that go down a really bad rabbit hole. They start getting really stressed out, they start drinking a little bit, it starts making them feel worse, they start drinking more and more and more, and it turns into just a total disaster for them. So that's one I would really, really recommend staying away from. Hydration is actually going to be a very, very good thing. That's another thing that alcohol does, that dehydrates you. When you get dehydrated, your electrical systems don't work as well. The body is an electrical system, so the brain, the heart, different things like that have trouble working together and coordinating, and that can change the clarity of your thought. It can change your sleep, like we talked about, change your inflammatory systems, and all of that stuff working against you is not something you really need when you're already stressed out. Journaling. prayer, meditation. Those things are all awesome. They're all great things. And those are things that you can do even when you're low on resources. You know, if you're totally exhausted, going and writing things down a lot of times will help you to basically just dump things onto the page where you don't have to sit them up here and you don't have to, you know, play with the Rubik's Cube in your mind and try and figure out the right combination to get the answer. And when you could get that out of your mind and onto the paper, it takes away some of the stress and allows you to sleep, right? So journaling and prayer and meditation are things that do not require a lot of resources. You can do it even when you're exhausted. You can do it when you're struggling with sleep. You could do it whenever. Heck, you could do it at work even. You know, just take 5 minutes and write down whatever you want to write down, ball the thing up and run it through the trash or throw it into the shredder or whatever you need to do so nobody reads it. It doesn't matter what you write. It's just dumping that stuff, get it out of your head. Nobody else has to read it. It's not written for anybody else. It's written for you. But those are just some tactics that you can use throughout the day. And that's the hang up that I see in most of my patients is most of them don't know what to do. And yes, all of these things take time. And when you're stressed, a lot of times it's because you don't feel like you have time. You feel like there's too much going on. But when you take the time to get the rest, when you take the time to write things down and think them through a little bit more clearly, when you take the time to exercise or do what you need to do, it makes you more efficient. And when you're more efficient, you get more done. When you get more done, you don't feel like there's so much time pressure on things. And when you don't feel like there's so much pressure on things, your stress level in turn goes down. So these are all strategies that you can use. Some are going to be better than others, and some are going to be better in certain situations. Like we said, exercise when you're exhausted, probably not going to be the best thing for you. Some people will find that does impact their sleep too. If you go and exercise when you're exhausted, it can really knock down your sleep. You might not get the quality of sleep, and you might not charge up as well the next day. So you've got to make sure that you have the resources, but sometimes you just need to work out. That's my stress relief, right? So there are times you've got to listen to your body. You've got to do what you got to do and get through that to get to that next step. But pay attention to what you do when you get stressed out and think about what you could do instead. What are your options? Because there are multiple options out there on how you approach this. So I hope that this is helpful. Obviously, if it is, share it. Like it. It gives me good information as far as what you guys are finding helpful. And really that's what this year is about, finding what you guys find helpful, and then I can share more things like that. That's the biggest thing that I have for a goal this year, is knowing a little bit more about what is going to help you the most so I can give you the stuff that is going to give you the most benefit. So I love y'all. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video.